Has the end of the line come for Workhorse? What is becoming of this company? What were these extremely damaging reports that emerged? Are these long-term threats to the viability of this company? And most importantly, should you as an investor worry right now? And should you buy, sell, or hold for the long term? In this video, I'm going to be covering all the fundamentals of Workhorse's current and future business operations, the long-term potential of the last mile delivery industry, and discussing their current and future share price predictions. What is up, you guys? It's Nick back at it again with another video. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe. I do tons of videos like this covering all tech stocks, EV stocks, IPOs, everything and anything personal finance to keep you ahead of the curve. While you're at it, clicking things down there, if you haven't already, decimate that like button. It really helps out the video, spreads the video to more and more people, which is good for us as investors. All right, first things first, let's go to Workhorse's current share price to discuss. All right, we can see that Workhorse shares are currently hovering around $20 USD per share. We can see that shares are down almost 30% in the last month alone. I've said it before and I'll say it again, startup electric vehicle companies are gonna be volatile. Expect one step back for every 2 steps forward type deal. Trust me, if you cannot handle the volatility in an electric vehicle startup company, this stock is probably not the right one for you. Although there is inherent risk in any stock, electric vehicle stocks have so much inherent risk associated with them. Although if you are strictly a long-term investor, you shouldn't get too worried and frazzled about these short-term sell-offs. Realize that they are basically just better entry points and sales on additional shares, which will help keep your average share price as low as possible. I realize that this may be hard to rationalize in the short term, but in the long term, trust me, you will be thanking yourself. So with the stock, we could see an undulating wave pattern emerging. This share price has not been a smooth sailing one, but has these sharp peaks and troughs. However, bearish patterns are definitely dominating as of late. For me personally, because I believe in the long-term potential of this company, this current share price is not worrying me whatsoever. All right, getting into the controversy, which has been one of the biggest catalysts driving the share price down and emerging these bearish patterns. A very damaging claim was made on October 8th by an investment advisory company called Fuzzy Panda Research. Now, it is very important to realize that Fuzzy Panda Research owns a substantial short selling position within Workhorse stock. They would therefore stand to benefit heavily from a falling Workhorse share price. Putting that aside, regardless of that, they are claiming that Workhorse's company and their fundamentals are akin to that of what we saw earlier in the year with Nikola. The researchers at Fuzzy Panda are claiming that Workhorse's vehicles are basically riddled with issues, complications, and that their business partners, VT Hackney, have backed out of the bidding to the USPS contract due to critical failures and breakdowns. Fuzzy Panda claims that Workhorse management was misleading its investors to drive up the share price, otherwise known as committing fraud. Now, I just want to point out that Fuzzy Panda's research is not very transparent. They are claiming they sent out investigators into Workhorse's 2 facilities just last month. They also have sources who, quote, are intimately familiar with the inside bidding complications of the USPS contract, which is worth $6.3 billion. Fuzzy Panda is saying that they basically have no shot at winning this contract whatsoever. However, like I said, this is not a transparent investigative report. It is just one company who stands to benefit very heavily from a falling share price. The report also cited that Workhorse's other contract for up to 950 mail trucks with the United Parcel Service is very unlikely to be fulfilled. It's key to note that there weren't any named sources, which does happen a lot in these inside investigative reports. However, I think it should be taken with a grain of salt just because they do have that short selling position. While the long-term health and stability of this company remains quite unclear for the meantime, I do think this falling share price is a much better entry point for long-term gains. Workhorse still has much work to do in order to become a viable, healthy, sustained company in the last mile delivery industry. So buying this stock is inherently risky. However, in the risk reward scale, I do see this playing out very nicely long term. They have struggled as of late securing capital funding and investments which explains their heavy lack of revenue. In the trailing 12 months, Workhorse hasn't even generated $500,000, only $376,000 to be exact. It becomes clear that there is so much speculation concerning the upcoming USPS contract already priced into the share price. It's currently hovering around $20 with a market capitalization of around $2.5 billion. Now, this kind of market capitalization with only $376,000 in generated revenue in the trailing 12 months should scream to you speculation. People are strictly basing their purchase of shares of this company on speculation and the future potential of this company. That's the key word here, potential. So we come back to the question of whether or not you should sell, hold, or buy. And that comes down to your investment strategy. It comes down to what you think the potential of this company could be. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, but years down the line. Do you, as a long-term investor, which you should be, see this as a potential gold mine in a very lucrative emerging industry, the last mile delivery industry? For me, as I am strictly a long-term investor, I do see this as a potential gold mine, and I'll tell you exactly why. Workhorse is positioned in entering a very underappreciated, undervalued market, basically taking units from the warehouse to consumers' doorsteps. The last mile delivery industry is currently on a rocket ship to the moon and are poised to exponentially increase in the coming years. US fleets order an average of 350,000 last mile delivery vehicles on an annual basis. Keep in mind, this is just in the US, and similar trajectories are occurring all across the globe. The last mile delivery industry has an estimated realized market capitalization of $18 billion and a compound annual growth rate of 14% over the 2020 to 2024 time horizon. This would amount to a realized market capitalization of $44.88 billion. With the increase of online shopping and e-commerce, LMD is only going to see increased demand and increased importance in our future economy. With increased demand comes increased market share for many companies to enter and thrive. Now, whether or not Workhorse is awarded part or all of this USPS contract, or none at all, it's important to note that with increased demand, there will be future contracts to be won and bid on and potentially awarded to Workhorse. Although this contract would indeed be a great foundational basis for Workhorse to build upon, I do indeed love what this company is doing in the short and medium and long-term future. I do see them as a very unique and well-positioned company for the coming landscape. With this decreased share price, I really do see this as a better long-term entry point for the company. More contracts will come around, and to be honest, I would not be surprised in the least to see them being awarded at least part of this USPS contract. They are, on paper, the most optimized and eco-friendly of all the competitors bidding for this USPS contract. When pairing with their Horsefly, their drone technology, they really are just the most forward-thinking, sleek, and optimized vehicle on the market for LMD. Although there are reports of dysfunctioning equipment, you would be hard-pressed to find a startup company that hasn't gone through its fair share of struggles. This is all part of the deal when investing in a startup company. Now, why is this contract important? And why do I know there will be many future contracts? The USPS currently spends $1.2 billion annually on repairs and maintenance of their pre-existing US fleets, representing a $2.8 billion increase year on year. This is signifying that their pre-existing fleet is worse for the wear and in desperate need of a revamping program. They're awarding $6.3 billion within the coming weeks to one or multiple companies, and Workhorse is poised to receive at least part of this contract. There are many other companies with aging fleets that are in desperate need of a revamp. And it's important to note that this specific contract is not the be-all and end-all of this company moving forward. Whether or not they are awarded this contract, I do think they are a great long-term buy and hold. They're really revolutionizing the way the products are delivered and the speed and efficiency at which they can travel from the warehouse to the doorstep, pairing drone technology with delivery vans. This, in my mind, is the future of the way that products are delivered and Workhorse is leading the charge. I love that they are willing to take risks, and yes, there have been some hiccups, but this is all part of the startup process. Workhorse's share price seems to be hitting that old resistance line of $20, which has held up in the past. So therefore, I am personally buying up additional shares around this valuation, as I do see long-term huge potential for this company. Anyways, everyone, thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button while you're down there for the YouTube algorithm. I do a ton of videos like this covering EV stocks, tech stocks, IPOs, anything and everything personal finance. All right, everyone, that's it for me. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.